One of these friends is actually a runaway criminal. Can you figure out who it is? Have you noticed that the guy on the right has weird red spots on his wrists? He must have taken off his cuffs before coming to the cafe. We have a situation on our hands here. There's one guy and two identical girls who have shown up for a date. Can you help the guy figure out which girl is an imposter and which is his actual date? The girl on the left isn't human. She has two right hands. This police officer claims that one of the suspects she has detained is a werewolf. Can you figure out which of them isn't human? The police officer herself is a werewolf. Look at her hands. She actually has not nails but claws.
A man on a motorbike crashed into the window of Mr. Ruby's store, grabbed several expensive watches, and drove away. When the police arrived, Mr. Ruby told them that he was almost sure it had been his nephew, Patrick. The officers went to visit the guy. Because of a heavy downpour, it took them 1 hour to get there. Patrick was at home, together with his friend. "Look at the weather. I haven't been outside since yesterday." Patrick's friend confirmed his words, but the police didn't believe their story and arrested Patrick. Why? The guy's helmet is hanging on his motorbike. If it had been there since the previous day, it would have been filled with rainwater by now. 4 friends went to a cafe together. 2 of them, Linda and Mike, ordered a large pot of blueberry tea. Kirsten took some lemonade, and Oscar opted for orange juice. Half an hour later, Linda and Mike lost consciousness and were rushed to a hospital. When the police analyzed the tea they had drunk, they found poison in it. The main suspects were, of course, Kirsten and Oscar. Why didn't they drink the tea? Kirsten said that she didn't like tea with berries, and Oscar explained that he was allergic to blackberries. Who is the culprit? It's Oscar. He said he was allergic to blackberries, but the tea his friends drank was with blueberries. David worked at a construction site. Once, someone attacked him, and the unconscious man was taken to a hospital. Police officers who arrived to investigate the case had 3 suspects who also worked at the construction site: Alex, Ryan, and John. Alex said, "I was putting all towels on the roof when the accident happened." Ryan confessed that he'd been sleeping under the tree, and John claimed that he'd been laying bricks at that time. Can you figure out who's lying? Alex was the one to hurt David. The building has no roof yet, so he couldn't be putting tiles up there. You've bought a cute little rabbit at a pet store. The animal can breed every 2 months, and every time it will deliver 5 babies. How many rabbits will you have in a year? You'll have just 1 rabbit. If you want to have little bunnies, you have to buy 2 rabbits. Look at these people attentively. Who is a mer person? Pay attention to every little detail. It's the guy on the right. Look, his hands are webbed. Allison won the main prize of $1 million on a game show. But when the shooting was over, it turned out that the host of the show had disappeared, together with the prize. The police managed to log into the computer in his office. They saw that the host had sent this message to his girlfriend. It looked like the host had told his girlfriend where he was going. The police went to the airport, but which flight was the host going to catch? Can you figure it out? Now let's see, the first two letters of Atlas are AT. If we take 3 letters from the word land, it'll leave us with LAN. And the 2 first letters of tattoo are TA. Together, these letters make up the word Atlanta. Hurry to the gate, officers! Jack got lost in the woods. Suddenly, he saw a castle. The man rushed there and was greeted by the owner of the castle.
You have to answer just one question. If you win, I'll show you the way out of the forest. But if you lose, you'll never leave my castle.
Jack agreed. The owner asked,
There are 4 mirrors on the wall. One of them reflects fire-spitting dragon Niren. The second, beautiful mermaid Laura. In the third mirror, you can see a terrifying vampire Sam. And in the fourth, unicorn David. You have to figure out which reflection isn't real, and fast.
The reflection of Vampire Sam isn't real. Vampires can't be reflected in mirrors. A businessman arrived at his office after a long trip and discovered that some important documents had disappeared from his desk. He immediately called the police, and a detective arrived shortly after. After interviewing all the workers, he had a list with 3 suspects on it. They were Emma, the accountant, Sophia, the receptionist, and James, a sales manager. But each of these people claimed that they hadn't even been inside the businessman's office. Still, it didn't take long until the detective figured out who was lying. Can you do the same? The thief is James. Both women wear high heels in the office, but the footprints on the floor are obviously left by sneakers. You throw me when you need me and pick me up when you don't need me. Can you figure out what I am? Right you are. I'm an anchor. How can you increase 66 by 1.5 if you aren't allowed to make any mathematical operations? Hurry up and crack this riddle. Just turn 66 upside down. It was Mr. and Mrs. Smith's wedding anniversary, and Mrs. Smith was going to put on diamond earrings her husband had presented her for their wedding. But when she opened her jewelry box, she saw that the earrings weren't there. She called her daughters, Dora and Laura. I've told you so many times not to touch my things. Who took my jewelry this time? Dora exclaimed, I haven't touched your jewelry box. Laura also denied taking her mom's stuff. I don't even wear earrings. Can you figure out which girl is lying? It was Laura who stole the earrings. Her mom didn't specify which piece of jewelry was missing. Stuart works as a teacher in an old British magic school, which is located in a beautiful castle. Early in the morning, he's walking down the corridor. Suddenly, Stuart hears a loud noise from the class and goes there to check. He sees 3 students raising their wands. One of them is a fake wizard. Can you guess who? This guy. He has an ordinary twig instead of a magic wand. Stuart settles down the quarrel and goes to the dining hall. He chooses one of these 4 breakfast sets. But Stuart doesn't eat any meat or fish. Also, he's allergic to all the purple fruits and berries. Can you help him choose the safest option? First of all, let's exclude the first breakfast. This cotton cheese bagel looks good, but it contains salmon. The second set has toast with blueberry jam, which may cause an allergic reaction. As for the fourth option, fried bacon is hiding under this cute waffle. So, Stuart should choose the third option. Although it contains some purple cabbage, nobody said that he's allergic to purple vegetables too. The cook offers Stuart a deal.
If you guess my riddle, you'll get a double dessert.
Stuart agrees. Here's the riddle.
What melts in a freezer?
The frost when the freezer is switched off. After breakfast, Stuart goes to the school greenhouse to say hi to Miss Palmer. She looks very confused. In the morning, 3 evil wizards opened a magical portal and snuck into the greenhouse. They took the shape of my plants, and now I don't know where they are. Can you help Stuart find them? Take a look at this cactus. It has no root. It just floats in the air without a pot. All the lilies have 6 petals, but this one only has 5. And this pumpkin has a watermelon pattern and color. Therefore, these 3 odd plants should be the wizards. Stuart walks down the Great Hall. Suddenly, an owl lands on his head and ruins his hairstyling. Stuart gets furious and asks 3 students standing nearby, "Whose owl is this?" Can you spot the owner of this bird? It's this guy. He has the same colored accessory as his owl. It's time for the flying lesson. 3 students, Wendy, Drake, and Blair, are about to have a race on their broomsticks. Can you spot who's cheating? Blair is casting a spell on her broomstick to make it go faster. Blair gets disqualified. Meanwhile, Drake and Wendy and Rob get ready to start the race. Can you guess who's gonna win? Drake has a broken broom, and Rob's position is wrong. It will take him more time to catch the broom and hit the road, so Wendy has the best chance of winning. Stuart begins Transfiguration lesson. He gives each of his students an apple and asks them to turn the fruits into stones. And then Stuart goes to the toilet. After a while, he returns and finds a huge toad sitting on his desk. Stuart questions 3 suspects. Among the students, Drake says, "I didn't do it. I was too busy with your task. Luckily, I made it." Bella says, "It was Magnus. I saw him catching a toad in the pond last night." And Magnus says, "It was Drake. He wanted to distract you because he didn't do his homework." Who's lying? Drake. Take a look at his desk. There's an apple in front of him, but he said that he succeeded in turning it into a stone. Stuart is riding a broom in the garden during his lunch break. Suddenly, someone throws a purple paint tube on his head. Stuart loses balance and falls. He finds 3 suspects and interrogates them. Billy says, "I was just sitting under this ancient oak and doing my homework." Bella says, "I was painting Billy's portrait. At some point, I noticed that my purple paint was missing. We both were here all the time." And Lily says, "I was just flying on my broom. I didn't even see any paint, sir." Who pranked Stuart? There's purple paint on Bella's hands, but it's okay because she was painting. Billy's outfit looks fine, but Lily has these odd smudges of purple paint on her hair. That's because she hid the tube under her witchy hat after the prank. Stuart is visiting the human world once a week because he loves one local bakery. But today, he finds out that he's not the only magical guy here. Can you guess why? Take a look at this pretty lady. She looks young, but her reflection in the mirror shows she's an old witchy lady. Every winter, a fancy ball takes place at the magic school. Several students perform a traditional dance as part of the opening ceremony. Suddenly, one of the dancers, Lily, loses her balance and falls in front of everyone. Stuart decides to investigate this case and finds out that someone had spilled olive oil on the dance floor on purpose. He interrogates 3 suspects. Harry says,
"Sir, I didn't do it. Lily is my girlfriend. Why would I prank her so meanly?"
Richard says, "Lily totally deserved that. She refused to go to the ball with me. I don't know who did it, but I'm grateful to this person." And Bella says,
"Before the performance, I was taking selfies with my boyfriend. Look at the pictures, if you don't believe me."
Now Stuart knows exactly who's guilty. What about you? It was Bella. Take a look at her selfies. She's wearing a witch bottle necklace and it's filled with greenish oil, but now it's empty. The magic school hired a photographer to take fancy pictures at the ball. This photo was taken at midnight, and this one half an hour later. Can you guess what happened here? This wizard didn't push her. He was actually trying to save her by raising his hands and casting a spell. And he succeeded, as we can see from the second picture. The winter ball is over. Stuart throws an after party for teachers at his apartment. Everything goes well, but the next day, Stuart finds out that someone had stolen the rarest and most expensive spell book from his secret library. Stuart has never told anyone about this room, but the lock isn't broken, which means that the thief knew a special spell to open the door. Only 4 guests possess this level of magic: Ambrose, Morgana, Rosamond, and Richard. Stuart rushes to the teacher's room. He questions all the suspects. Each teacher claims to have nothing to do with the robbery. Can you guess who's the thief? Ambrose. His coat is missing 1 gold button because he dropped it at the crime scene. Meanwhile, Ambrose looks through the spellbook and finds a potion recipe that allows teleporting anywhere. But unfortunately, the last 3 ingredients are encoded. Here's a hint to crack the first one. It's a flower that can be found between the nose and the chin. Any idea what it might be? Tulips. Here's the next hint. What kind of vegetable do people look forward to getting every month? Celery. And this clue will lead you to the final ingredient. What kind of room can you eat? Mushroom. Ambrose finishes the potion and teleports to an unknown place. In the evening, Stuart arranges an urgent Zoom call with his fellow wizards. They're all currently in the same city, but they don't have time to meet offline. Unfortunately, their video call gets interrupted by a stranger. Can you spot the imposter? All the wizards live in the same city, which means they're in the same time zone. The call takes place in the evening. It should be dark outside, but this guy is in the middle of a sunny day. Therefore, he's the imposter. Stuart goes to the magic market to buy special ingredients for a potion that will help him find the stolen book. 1 violet costs 10 bronze coins, and the price for 1 lily is 15 coins. Can you calculate the price of this 1 starflower? One star flower will cost 20 bronze coins. Each flower costs 2.5 coins per petal. And this particular star flower has 8 petals.
Jessica is walking down a cold street in an abandoned city. The temperature is so low that steam is coming out of her mouth. She turns the corner and notices a cart filled with food and bottles of water. It's a real treasure, especially in a world where the entire civilization is almost completely destroyed. But as soon as the girl touches the cart, 3 zombies come out of the building. They're approaching Jessica, stretching out their hands toward her. She grabs the cart and runs away, but then she stops. She understands that they are not zombies, but people. How has she figured it out? All these zombies have steam coming out of their mouths. That means they're breathing and they're alive. One famous movie studio hires new staff: lighting and sound engineers, a director of photography, a mechanic, a gaffer, prop artists, stunt performers, and an editor. But they all need to demonstrate their professional skills to get this job. The candidates have a week to make a short movie. On Monday, they start. Actors and actresses laugh and cry, sound engineers record all their emotions, the DOP captures beautiful pictures, stunt performers are amazing. Prop artists create a small town with incredible decorations. 1 week later, the studio managers are watching the movie. It's terrible. None of the candidates gets the job. Why did this happen? Why couldn't they make a good movie? There was no director among them, and no screenwriter to write a script. 2 friends are sitting at the same table in a cafe. One of them is speaking about the extinction of dinosaurs. He's saying scientists are going to get the genetic code of these ancient creatures. The second friend is talking about his sister's party. There were a lot of cool people, great music, and delicious food. Other people sitting in the cafe are annoyed by the guy's loud voices. But why is this dialogue so strange? Why is one of the guys talking about dinosaurs and the other is telling him about a party? What's going on here? These 2 guys aren't speaking to each other. They're talking on their phones through headphones. It's nighttime. 3 girls are standing in line at an ATM inside a bank. The first girl is getting some banknotes. The second one is looking around. The third girl is typing on her phone. Which one is a thief? Well, they're all robbers. The bank is closed. Take a look at the sign on the door. It says open. So the closed side is turned toward the street. "Where's my cake?" the chef screams. Assistants and junior cooks are running around the kitchen. A steak is burning on a frying pan. The kitchen is filled with smoke. A plate falls to the floor and shatters. The chef screams again, "Where's my cake? Who took it?" Everyone says they've been cooking. None of them wants to admit eating the cake. The chef doesn't believe them. Who do you think stole the cake? Nobody. The cake is in the oven, see? Jack is in a cold cell. There's only bare ground under his feet. In the cell, there's one window, but it's impossible to escape through because it's located too high. There are no stairs and no chairs, just a shovel. Jack has no water and no food. He needs to get out of there in 2 days, but he can't dig a tunnel since the walls are too thick and go deep underground. Jack will get exhausted long before he digs his way to freedom. So, how can he escape? He needs to dig a large hole in the ground and use the dirt to make a small hill. He can then climb it and reach the window. Marty walks around an IT university building. 3 people are following him and discussing something. Marty enters the Hall of Holograms. People walk inside too. Marty sits down on a chair. As for the three people, they go on the stage, still talking. Some of them are holograms. But who? This guy has a flashing nail on his right index finger. This girl has two left hands. The girl in the middle is slightly transparent. They all seem to be holograms. But wait a minute. Take a look at Marty. He's sitting on a chair, but his body isn't touching the surface of the seat. He's not real either. It's early morning. Sam leaves the house and goes to the lake. The sun hasn't risen yet. The water is crystal clear. Frogs are croaking in the distance. Sam takes several photos of nature and one selfie. He posts the pictures and writes this caption: "I've had a great run. There is nothing better than a morning workout, my dear followers. Have a great day." After that, the guy returns home and goes back to bed. He sleeps until lunch and then takes his phone and sees hundreds of comments. "Ha ha ha, I wish I had such a run." Dude, why do you deceive us like that? Here it is, a real day of the champion. Obviously, people have found out that Sam didn't run in the morning. But how? He wrote that he had just had a run, but his face isn't red and he isn't sweaty at all. There are 4 different countries on one distant continent. Each of these countries has its own emblem with one simple symbol. The same number of people live in each of the countries: 9 ordinary citizens and 1 monster. 1 queen, 1 king, and 1 prince. 2 jesters sometimes drop by these kingdoms. What is this continent? It's a deck of cards. It contains 9 regular cards: ace, queen, king, jack, and joker. Once, on a cold winter evening, someone broke into a bakery. When the baker came to the building in the morning, he noticed that the lock was broken. He called the police and reported a break-in. Then he went inside and realized that the thief hadn't stolen anything. At that moment, the police arrived. The baker told him that the place hadn't been robbed, but a police officer inspected the room and declared that someone had still broken the law. What happened there? There are almost imperceptible footprints leading to the pantry. The thief must have hidden there to wait for the baker to receive the day's earnings. Mickey has been wandering in a desert for several hours. He's tired, thirsty, hungry, and sleepy. He notices a big house standing on the hot sand. Mickey goes inside and sees a massive block of ice in the center. Someone must have put it there for a reason. Mickey licks the ice, but it doesn't quench his thirst. He decides to wait. It takes a couple of seconds for 1 drop of water to evaporate in the desert, so the ice should melt soon. The guy leaves the building and goes for a walk. Several hours later, he returns to the house, but nothing has changed. The ice hasn't melted. How is this possible? There are air conditioners on the ceiling. They keep the temperature in the room low and prevent the ice from melting. Florence, Anya, and Margot are walking along the beach, telling one another about the past week. All the girls look wealthy and successful, but several people are taking photos of them. It means that at least one of these girls is a celebrity. But who? It's Anya. Look, that guy is wearing a t-shirt with her face on it. Marcus is leaving a large shopping mall. He pulls his phone out of the pocket and accidentally drops it. Oh no, the screen is cracked. Marcus gets into a taxi and goes to a phone repair service. He sees dozens of shops. Each of them offers its own services. Battery replacement, the best service in the city. Let's fix your microphone, and dozens of others. Help Marcus choose where to go. Do you see a small store with the "We can change the screen glass" sign? This is what Marcus needs. Somewhere at sea, a huge ship is traveling. People on the deck are having fun, speaking, drinking cocktails, eating delicious food, enjoying beautiful seascapes. This is a passenger liner. It doesn't have any secret mission. The passengers are ordinary people with ordinary jobs. They discuss the weather, new theater plays, music, books, and travel destinations. They all seem to be intelligent and educated. The strange thing is that no one takes any photos and posts them on the internet. Okay, the internet may not be working so far from the shore, but why don't they take selfies? Who said this cruise was taking place nowadays? It happened before the era of smartphones and the internet. A young guy is sitting on hot sand somewhere in the desert. There are several boxes, cans, sandbags, and water bottles around him. The guy looks up. He sees a giant balloon flying further and further away. There are two people in the gondola. They're waving and wishing him luck. A broken match lies on the guy's palm. What do you think happened here? Three people were flying in a hot air balloon over a desert. At some point, they began to run out of fuel. To prolong the flight, they decided to drop their cargo. Then they realized it was also necessary to get rid of one person. This way, the balloon's weight would decrease and it would consume less fuel. The travelers decided to cast lots. Whoever got a broken match would have to stay in the desert. This guy lost. Ironically, his name is Sandy. Don't worry, he gets rescued in about an hour by a limousine from the Burj Khalifa Hotel in Dubai. He'll be in luxury, while the other two people are stuck in a hot air balloon over the desert. Who's the loser now?
Oliver is walking in the rain. Suddenly, he sees a woman without an umbrella or hat. But she's not getting wet at all. How is this possible? The woman is walking inside a covered area, such as a covered sidewalk. Four friends go hiking and take a picture by the lake. Can you spot anything weird? This guy doesn't have any reflection in the water. Sarah checks into a fancy hotel. She feels very hungry, but unfortunately Sarah missed the dinner hours. That's why she calls room service and orders a vegan dinner set. 15 minutes later, someone knocks on her door. She looks through the peephole first. Sarah. Oh great, a fake waitress. How did she know? The waitress is fake because she didn't know that Sarah ordered a vegan meal. Kelly and Kim start a quarrel on the plane. It's Kim's private jet, so she wants everything to be her way. But Kelly gets mad at her. She runs up to the exit door, opens it, and jumps out. It happens so fast that the crew don't have time to do anything. Kelly doesn't have a parachute. She breaks her leg but survives. How come? The plane had already landed. Nick is driving down the road and his car runs out of gas. He sees a cabin in the woods and decides to ask for help. When he gets there, he finds three people inside. They offer to help him, but only if he agrees to stay there forever. Why? Nick stumbled upon a group of runaway criminals. They're afraid that he would tell others about their location. Early in the morning, Detective Robinson receives a call from his neighbor, Ethan. Ethan. Please, come as soon as possible. Someone attacked my wife. Robinson arrives at Ethan's house and sees this scene. Can you guess what happened to his wife? Take a look at the calendar on the wall. They pranked the detective because it was April 1st. The city has been taken over by zombies. Let's take a look at this group. Only one of these zombies is a male. Can you guess who? The first zombie is wearing a bra, and the second one has a badge with a female picture and name. Therefore, only the third zombie is a male. Tom works in a secret agency specializing in people with psychic abilities. He's having an interview with 3 people claiming to be superheroes, but only one of them really possesses some supernatural powers. Can you help him spot this person? Take a look at the third lady. She's holding her phone with the power of her mind without even touching it. Stella and Bella go on vacation. They take 2 pictures on the beach. Can you spot 10 differences between them? You can pause the video if you need additional time. Ready to see all the 10 differences? Here they are. Steve arrives at work and turns on the corporate laptop. Oh no! Someone has changed the password. Steve looks around and finds a sticker with a clue. 32, 18, and 29. He enters the number, but it doesn't work. Can you help him crack the code? Steve should literally enter 3 2s, 1 8, and 2 9s through underscores. 222, 8, 99. Gabriel is an art teacher. He enters the studio to check his students' work. One of these people is a ghost. Can you guess who? It's the model. She's posing for a portrait, but everyone sees through her. Dan wakes up in a creepy cage. He needs to figure out a 5-number code to escape. He only has this picture as a clue. Can you help Dan crack the code? To solve this mystery, we need to count the number of legs that each object in this picture has. The human has 2 legs, the fish has 0, the ladybug has 6, the dog has 4, and finally the spider has 8 legs. So the correct code is 20648. Alex went hiking and got lost in the woods. The sun had already set when he finally found a road. 3 drivers stop and offer him a ride to the nearest village. Can you help Alex choose the safest option? There's a zombie arm sticking out of the second car's trunk, and the third driver has suspicious pointy ears and shiny eyes. So he's probably a werewolf. Therefore, Alex should probably trust the first driver. I'm very easy to lift, but very hard to throw. What am I? I'm a feather. Kim downloads a dating app hoping to find her true love. She likes these 3 men equally. They begin to chat, and the guys send her some selfies. Each man claims to be single. But in fact, only one of them doesn't have a girlfriend. Can you guess who? Brian sent Kim a cute bathroom selfie. But take a closer look at his shelf. He has 1 male razor and another pink razor, which probably belongs to his girlfriend. So goodbye, Brian. Meanwhile, Kyle took a selfie in his bedroom. Luckily, he left the closet open so we could see his girlfriend's clothes and shoes. So only Harry is a single person, and Kim should give him a chance. Jenny goes for a walk to her favorite park. Suddenly, she gets attacked by a crowd of zombies. Jenny gets terrified and begins to run away. There are 3 possible routes in front of her, but only one of them will actually take Jenny to a shelter. Can you help her escape? Jenny should choose Route C. Ethan owns a successful flower shop, but today he's very upset. Someone has stolen all the red roses from the storage room. Ethan questions 3 suspects among his staff. Leah, the chief florist, says, "I spent the whole day creating bouquets with pink lilies for a wedding ceremony." Donna, the manager, says, "I don't know who stole the roses. I didn't even enter the storage room today. I was consulting our clients all day long." And finally, Mike, the florist assistant, says, "Fresh red roses were delivered early in the morning. I brought them to the storage room, and I've never entered it again. Who's lying?" Leah. There are no pink lilies in the bouquets that she made. Lauren changes a 6-number password on the office door to avoid thefts. She leaves this little clue for all her colleagues. Bagel. Can you guess the correct code? To solve this mystery, we should calculate the number of each given letter in the alphabet. B implies 2, A implies 1, G 7, and so on. So the final password is 217512. Helen meets a handsome guy at a supermarket. She falls in love at first sight. His name is Robert, and he came here with his sister. Can you guess which one of these ladies is his sister? It's the third woman. She's the only one who's shopping without a separate cart or basket because Robert carries it. The police officer is chasing Kendra, who had just robbed a jewelry store. The teenager sneaks into the nearest school, and the officer follows her. She notices Kendra's hoodie by one of the doors and enters the classroom. There she sees 4 students who look like Kendra. Can you decide who's the real robber? This one is Kendra. She has neither books nor pens on her desk. Let's go ahead and take a look at these 2 pictures. Can you spot 10 differences between them? Ready to see the solution? Here are the 10 differences. It's a Sunday afternoon. Most people are spending it at the local shopping mall. Nothing usually happens here. But suddenly a man snatches a woman's bag and runs away. The woman calls a security guard and yells, "Don't just stand here, go after him!" But the thief has already disappeared into the crowd. Can you help the guard find the thief? He's over here. Sam gets promoted and throws a fancy party for his best friends. Josh, Kate, Brad, Bill, and Holly. Everything goes great. But the next morning, Sam finds out that someone broke into his safe and stole his family treasure, a golden egg. Sam questions his friends, but each swears to have nothing to do with the theft. The police officer looks through the pictures that Sam took yesterday. After comparing these 2 shots, he spots the thief. What about you? Yesterday, Holly was wearing a classy hat. In the first picture, the hat is pressed close to her head. And on the second one, the very same hat is much taller. That's because she hid the golden egg inside it. Violet returns from a business trip. She enters her office and sees a beautiful gift basket on her table. There's a love note from a secret admirer attached to the package. Violet gets very curious. She figures out 3 suspects and asks them just one question. "Did you send me the gift basket?" Liam replies, "Nope, I would have sent you sunflowers instead. I know you love them." Jason says, "I overslept today, and I've just arrived at the office, so I wouldn't have had time to prepare a surprise for you." And Kenny says, "I didn't send the basket, but when I entered your room in the morning to put some documents on your desk, the basket was already there. Who's the secret admirer?" The love note is written on a pink sticker. Kenny has similar sticker notes in his workspace, and his handwriting is very similar to the love note. Busted! Tyler receives a message from his new girlfriend, Kitty. She invites him over for dinner. Tyler has never been to her house yet. He takes his scooter and hits the road right away. But unfortunately, he gets lost on the way. His navigator breaks down and shows him 3 confusing routes. Can you guess what route leads to Kitty's house? Tyler should take the first route. Alex is heading to a family dinner, but he's really broke and he only has 8 chocolates. He needs to divide them equally between his 3 sisters. How many cookies would each sister get? Zero. Alex has chocolates, not cookies. Nellie's father has 5 daughters. The name of the eldest daughter is April. The second daughter is May. The third one is June. And the 4th daughter's name is July. Can you guess the name of his 5th daughter? Nellie. A gardening fair takes place in a village. The top 5 local gardeners show their best flowers. But one of them brought fake plants to prank the villagers. Can you spot the fake? Bumblebees fly around all the plants except for the 4th flower pot. Insects don't get attracted to these roses because they're artificial. Dylan is exploring a remote forest area. Soon he gets lost and has no idea where to go. Luckily, he comes across a small cabin in the woods and sees a forester. Dylan. "Hello, could you please tell me how I can get to the railway station?" Forester. "Go down this trail until you reach a crossroads. There, you'll see a rock with signboards. Just remember, the left one lies and the right one tells the truth." Dylan follows his advice and soon finds the rock. Can you guess which way he should go to reach the station? Since the left sign is lying and the right one is the truth, Dylan should walk straight ahead. Claire puts on a classy white suit and goes for a walk. Suddenly, a big dog pops out of nowhere and jumps on her. The dog stains Claire's outfit with dirty paws. She gets furious and yells, "Whose dog is this?" Can you spot the owner of this animal? It's the second lady. She's wearing the same collar as her dog. Are you ready for a new detective journey? Then buckle your seatbelts and let's go. Mary was walking through the park when she spotted a hungry kitten. The woman decided to share her snack with the animal. Unfortunately, there was a stream between her and the kitty. She squatted down to attract the cat's attention and showed it the food. The animal was next to her in no time. There was no bridge over the stream, and still, the cat wasn't wet. How is it possible? It happened in the winter and the stream was frozen. In a lake, there is a patch of lily pads. Every day, the patch doubles in size. If it takes 48 days for the patch to cover the entire lake, how long will it take for the patch to cover half the lake? The patch doubles in size every day. So on the 47th day, the patch will be half the size it is on the 48th day. You are in a place called Bobby's World, and there is only one law there. There is a mirror, but no reflection. There is pizza with cheese, but not with ham. There is pepper, but no salt. There is a door, yet no entrance or exit. What is the law in this strange world? Everything in Bobby's world must contain double letters in its name. Kenneth was hungry. He found a nice diner that served burgers and bought one. After a waiter brought him his order, Kenneth went to the bathroom to wash his hands. But when he came back, his burger was gone. The guy looked around the diner and understood who had taken his lunch. Can you figure it out? It's the young woman with a dog sitting at her feet and sniffing the air. If she was just drinking coffee, which is what she's pretending to do, the dog wouldn't be so interested in her. Look at these two guys. One is big and burly, and the other is short and thin. They're in a cafe, drinking identical drinks. The shorter one gulps his drink down in one go and leaves. The other man sips his drink slowly. Then he falls to the floor and is taken to a hospital. Can you explain why it happened if they had the same drinks? The drinks contained poisoned ice cubes. The man who enjoyed his drink gave these ice cubes time to melt and release the poison, while the other man didn't. An Arab sheikh told his two sons that they had to race their camels to a distant city to see who would inherit his fortune. The one whose camel arrived last would win. After wandering aimlessly for days, the brothers asked a wise man for advice. After listening to his opinion, they jumped on the camels and raced as fast as they could to their destination. What did the man tell them? The wise man told them to switch their camels. Look at these two guys. They're wearing similar clothes, both holding coffee cups, and in general, seem to be perfectly okay. But one of them is a werewolf in disguise. Which one? Look at the guy on the right. There are strange marks on the rim of his cup. Were they left by his fangs? Also, his pupils are a bit elongated. And there is a paw print design on the plastic bag he's holding. Is it a special store for werewolves? A rich entrepreneur disappeared from his office. The only thing he left behind was a note with the numbers 6, 4, 9, 10, and 11 and a calendar. The police have 5 suspects. All of them the businessman's acquaintances. James, Kevin, Carol, Jason, and Laura. Who knows something about the man's disappearance? Jason. The numbers mean months of the year, and the first letters of these months make up his name, Jason. A furious traveler at the airport claimed the contents of his baggage had disappeared. When I got my suitcase, it was empty. I want you to compensate for what I've lost. After checking the passenger's info, airport security found out that he had indeed left London with a heavy suitcase, and now his bag was empty and a bit wet. The whole situation was suspicious. Can you figure out what happened? The passenger left London with a suitcase full of ice. During the flight, the ice melted, and the man demanded compensation for the lost belongings. Matthew bought a new smartphone and a phone case. He paid $510. The gadget cost $500 more than the case. How much did Matthew pay for the phone? He paid $505. Last night, on a full moon, several people disappeared in the city. Locals believe that the kidnapper was a werewolf, and you are invited to investigate this case. There are 3 suspects, Jack, Levi, and Luke, but all of them have alibis. Jack was walking with his girlfriend near the river. Levi was choosing a silver ring for himself in the mall. And Luke, who is a museum guard, had a night shift at work. Which guy is guilty? Jack was walking under a full moon and didn't turn into a werewolf. Levi wasn't afraid to put on silver rings. The werewolf and potential kidnapper is Luke. Detective Black's assistant, Josh, was late for work. When he arrived, he told his boss the following story. I was driving along the highway when I saw an unconscious man lying on the left side of the road. I picked him up and took him to the nearest hospital. Finally, he came to his senses. He told me he had been pushed out of a moving vehicle, but the bag with all his money and documents was left inside. Strangely, Detective Black told Josh that the man had lied to him. How did he figure it out? If the man had indeed been pushed out of the car, he would have been lying on the right side of the road, not the left one. Criminals caught 3 men and locked them in a basement with only one window, high above the floor. Oh, no. The men decided that at least one of them needed to escape and warn the police. The men stood on each other's shoulders, but the one on the top still couldn't reach the window. But then they did something, and one of them managed to escape. Can you figure out what they did? The tallest of them climbed on the top, and since, proportionally, this man also had longer arms, he managed to reach the window. You find yourself in a room with no windows. There are 3 doors leading out of the room. Suddenly, a big screen on the wall lights up. You read, "Behind each of these doors there is some danger. The first door leads to a scorching hot desert, several steps, and the sun will burn you. Behind the second door, there is a hungry alligator that hasn't eaten for a year. And the third door hides a pool with icy water. To get to freedom, you'll have to swim across it. Which door should you choose to survive?" Alligators can indeed go without food for up to 3 years, which means that the creature behind the second door is hungry and dangerous. Freezing water can cause cold shock in an unprepared swimmer. That's why you should choose the first door. You just need to wait for the sun to go down and walk through the desert.
Oh, yes.
James came to a cafe to drink coffee. But when a waitress brought him a cup, the man found a fly in his drink. He called the waitress and told her to bring him another coffee. She did. But when James took a sip from his cup, he got really angry and asked to call a manager. He complained that the waitress had brought him the same coffee. How did he understand it? The new coffee was already sweet because James had already put sugar in his first cup before finding the fly.